Hello all you viewers, this is Ben C coming at you with another video overview and first impressions, Christmas Haul 2020 Part 2, and yeah, so I'm basically, this is not to brag or anything like that, this is just sort of fun, you know, education, entertaining education sort of thing, and point out some things if you're looking for one of these kind of tools. Point out some things you should look out for, whether it be good or bad, so on, etc. And as I said, first impressions. This is not to brag or show off. So let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to start off with is a pair of Stanleys from the Homeless Death Spot, which are going to be replacing my old ones, which have had 10 years of service and abuse and service from yeah, they've lasted well for me. They've served me well. Here they are. Here's my old pair. Yeah, these are 10 years of abuse. So these needed to be replaced. The jaws, the teeth are just completely blunt, basically. There's a lot of slop in the hinge, and the grippies of the grips I had to take off because I couldn't tell if there was rust under there, and I didn't want to, one day squeeze on them and just have the handle just break because of the rust, because of rust. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna remove these. It's, they're worn out anyways, whatever. So first thing, very good impressions. I have a set of pliers that replaced my old pliers, slip joint pliers, Stanley's. I've had good so far. I've had good with these too. These are not from Christmas. I've had these for a little while now. But so far those have been really good. I expect the same greatness from those new pliers, from these, and so there's that. Next on this lovely little train, jeweler's lens, because I'm practically blind as a bat, and so yeah, and I have wireframe glasses. If you're looking at getting one of these, if you think that you might need it, go ahead. It's not too expensive at Hazard Fart. I have to clip, since I have a wireframe, I have to clip them here or here, but that's not a problem because that's probably about where you want to clip them. And so far they work good. I haven't had a chance to test them in my shop, but yeah, there's that. Next up, so far everything's had good juju. So far everything's worked out well, or has been going well. Next up is an automatic center punch from the Hazard Fart. The jeweler's lens was also Hazard Fart. This is an automatic center punch. Basically what you do is sorry about that. So what you want to do is, and it will make a dent, take a little nick out of the metal, or put a nick in the metal, whatever. So you can, if you're drilling something, you just use this tool to put a little nick, and then it will allow you to drill in that spot you want to drill in without having your drill bit walk all over and ruin the metal, or the piece, the spoil the work, yeah. So this is a son of a bird, yeah, so far this is pretty good. The tip actually hasn't dull, which I was kind of surprised about, but I'm actually quite happy about that. So yeah, there's that. Next up, deburring tool from Husky, and this is from the Homeless Death Spot. I'm quite pleased about this. This has a metal handle, plastic locking collet sort of thing. It came with two blades. I found it in the plumbing aisle stuff. But yeah, there's a cap on the back, comes with an extra blade for other things. Now, this is an aluminum handle, which I was quite surprised about. At first, it seemed like it was plastic, but it turns out it's aluminum. What this is used for is basically to clean up burrs on a manual version of removing burrs. So you want to do like this, and I'm not actually going to do it right now because this doesn't need to be deburred. But that's how you would clean it. You can use it on straight edges, you can use it on round. Yeah, I mean, there's almost endless potentials with this to clean out the burrs. And you have to obviously make sure that it's not, you have to make sure you're at the right angle to use it. But other than that, Thorn Tor stick so far is very good. Son of a diddling thing is pretty good so far. So this is pretty good. So far so good with first impressions. Next up is something a little bit bigger in terms of price and quantity and design and whatnot. And for those who might not know how how big a deal these kind of things are for measuring, here is my Hazard Fart set of calipers. These are basically, if you want to get like a rough estimate, like rough, if you were a good analogy would be like 60 grit sandpaper rough. A guesstimate of the of the diameter, inner diameter, or depth of something. This is what you want. I mean, it's not too expensive. I only got a Hazard Fart because it was cheap. At the time, I needed one, and it had imperial, inch, and inch fractional, as well as metric millimeters. And so, yeah, this is what I have. And it has been good so far. It's not been bad. But as I said, this is like, if using an analogy, this is like 60 grit sandpaper for the precision level. It is very rough. And if you want something very precision, you want to get something like this. This is called a micrometer, vernier micrometer because of the style. Now, these from Hazard Fart, for starting out, these are perfect. But I would not suggest trusting the precision, because first of all, I'm pretty sure you can hear that rubbing noise. And as I said earlier, this is not to offend or anything like that. This is just for educational, what you want to try to avoid. Obviously, these are fine for what you need to do. You're going to probably want to oil them, clean them out, because when I got these and I opened them up, there was some fun metal curlicues, metal dust that they hadn't bothered to clean off, which is not something you want in a precision instrument. And to best show the kind of precision that I'm talking about, or to best describe the kind of precision, think of how precise NASA needs to have all of their parts. This is what they would use. That's that precise kind of thing. Not Hazard Fart, but I mean, if they're using Hazard Fart, I think they should be laughed at and kicked out, but that's just my thoughts. Now, I got a set of 0 to 1, 1 to 2, and 2 to 3. And these are all good for beginning sets, absolutely. And I don't recommend anything, but because you're different, son of a biatch. Um, your experience is different from mine, and so yeah. But if you're looking for just a starter set that you don't care about, and you just need a starter micrometer set, this is just fine. This is perfect, actually. But I would make sure that if you have access to gauge blocks, precision gauge blocks, use those instead of these standards that they come with, because it's better defined on the number two, the 2-inch standard. You can tell that this sucker's cockeyed. If you look, you can see this one's straight, and this one's cockeyed to the right, or the left, whatever you want to, or yeah, the right or the left. Now, I would be willing to forgive them if that was the only thing. But the faces where you're supposed to use these to calibrate the micrometers, they're not even parallel with each other. These faces aren't parallel with each other. So basically, it's supposed to be precision, but in the end, it's just something you really shouldn't trust for precision. So if you have access to them, definitely suggest it. You are going to need to calibrate these when you get them. Before you use them, you want to calibrate them. This is the calibration tool. Basically, let me use the 0 to 1. What you do is you see this little hole. You want to zero this out, and I'm sure most likely once you've cleaned everything out, put a little bit of 3-in-1 oil if you want, or a nicer oil even. But I wouldn't suggest, wasting the oil on these, because these are not, going to last for very long. But say it's zeroed out, and say the zero's like right here. What you would do is you would take this large side, and basically there's a little nib, and you stick that in the hole, and you just twist this until it lines up with the 0. And obviously that's how you calibrate these. Along with, to check to make sure that they're actually zeroing out, you want to use the standards. Now with this 1-inch, you don't really need to use it. I mean, you should use a standard, but the 1-inch standard is a little bit difficult. If you have other standards that are genuinely good standards, that's why I said gauge blocks. Use gauge blocks if you have access to the precision gauge blocks, and make sure that they're a gauge block from somewhere where they are good, because you want to make sure that you want maybe a 1/2-inch gauge block or a 1/4-inch for the 1-inch 0 to 1-inch micrometer. But so far, these have yet to be inaccurate, though I don't know if they are actually accurate, because I don't have any good way of testing it, since the precision supposed to be precision is not precision. But if you're wondering what the smaller end is for, basically, that's just to remove this ratchet thimble. Now, so far these are very good. Haven't had a problem with them per se. This is not to nitpick or anything like that. This is just for education purposes. Like if you're looking for a set and you're thinking about these ones, by all means, there's totally all fine. This is perfect for a starter set. Keywords being starter set. This isn't, you won't want to use this professionally in an environment unless you don't need really, really nice precision. This is probably 200 grit 800 grit sandpaper, we'll say. And then, we'll say this is 300 grit sandpaper. for that, if we're following that analogy. So this is very fine. But there's one thing finer than these, or there's one version of these finer. And I know it's a name brand, but they are precision. And that would be these guys, Starrett. Now this specific model is discontinued, if I recall correctly. I got this secondhand. Obviously, this is very not happening to any of my tools unless they're pre-owned. But this was a gift from a family member. And so, as you can see, this uses a special gear system where it uses a tumbler in there to measure, and it does also have the vernier set up. So that is ching. The other thing is that this is these are even brand new versions of these are heirloom tools, absolutely all day long heirloom. But the thing is that these are expensive as frig, because they average around 276. The average price is, I averaged it out from what I found, it was around 276 for 0 to 1, 276 US doll hairs. Now in euros or pounds, I mean, or Kanakistan kopecks, I don't know the cost of these, but these are very expensive, but they are also at the same time very precise. These are like 200,000 grit sandpaper. These are like, you can't get much more precision than these when it comes to this type of measurement tool. There are different measurement tools like giant electron microscope looking things that are more precise, but I'm talking just like this kind of thing. So this is a fantastic thing. Now obviously you can see that there's cracking. So I have experience with Starretts because my shop has some, and so I do like Starrett. They are very good tools. Obviously, these are like, think of like the machinist equivalent of Snap-on. So yeah, that's basically. But these are not. I mean, technically, auto mechanics probably could buy these too and use them for the kind of things that they would need with making sure the motor and stuff is in the shafts and all that are in proper alignment and whatnot. But these are very, very nice. Very expensive, very good quality though. And these are okay. These would good starter set. And these I will in my shop. Anybody touches these, this 0 to 1 inch, whatever if I have something in my hand, whatever I have, I will use that as a device to smash their hand, to whack their hand with. I don't care what it is. You do not touch this one, and this is one of those things. If you want to borrow one of my micrometers, a 0 to 1 inch mic, you can borrow this. You just gotta ask and then just return it. Don't don't touch this one. And I know because some of the kids in my shop class are subscribed and watch these videos, so don't mess with this. If you need a 1 inch 0 to 1 inch mic and you don't have access because they're all taken, don't take this one. Leave it. Don't touch it. Whatever I have in my hand at the time, I will use to smash your hand. Do not touch it. That's how serious I am. If you want to use a micrometer, just ask me if you can borrow one of my micrometers, if it's a 0 to 1 inch. And when you're done, return it to me directly. Do not lend it to anybody else. So yeah, that's my little rant. Yeah. So that's all for now. I will try to report in later on how they've stood up or held up. I will be making sure that these are accurate for what they're supposed to be when I get to my shop class, because basically I've got no precision instruments here other than what's supposed to be precision standards, as they're called. So I'm going to use precision gauge blocks to check these, and yeah. So that's all. Alright, and so this is Ben C. for the Ragtag Tool Show, signing off. Have a good day.